Okay, so just to touch on the last video, why do I protect my predators? Because their words are still important. Their words still matter. If they're dead, they can't be brought to justice. And also, if they're dead, they can't tell the truth. And I need them to tell the truth. Now, we're gonna go into this video. I've said for years I can do things that parents can't do. I don't have any kids, so they can't intimidate me the way they can do with parents. Parents are the largest voting population in the United States. There's more parents than any other group. How amazing is that? Of course, with many of these parents being threatened or harassed by the police, it is scary for them. I'm not a bad person for showing that. I'm not a bad person for saying that. A lot of parents say they'd go to prison for their kids. I've been to prison for your kids. Literally, I have been to prison for your kids, to keep your children safe from predators. In many of these cases, I was keeping children safe from their own parents. Or rather, I was trying. Protecting children from alcoholics and meth addicts. Van Ingersoll was a very good friend for a lot of years. And then she died. There's a lot of people who are dead that it's not the fault of my predators. And it's not even the fault of their predators. They just dealt with their trauma differently than I. They dealt with their trauma by getting drunk or getting screwed up on meth or injecting heroin. Whereas I chose not to lay down and take it like a bitch. I chose to fight back as peaceful as I possibly could. And as a result, I got abused over and over and over again. I'm still here, I'm still speaking out. I don't have anything to live for anymore except the truth. Exposing these son of bitches and showing what really happened, but we don't have time. That's the problem with these people wanting to shuffle all this stuff through the housing thing. You know what? I had housing, and I still didn't have help turning these son of bitches in. The people who are supposed to do that job, primarily Jen Beebe and Nicole Peralta, they didn't do it. A lot of these people want to be angry at me for showing the truth, for claiming they didn't do anything. Well, they didn't. Without their words, nothing that they did mattered. It was just wasting my time and wasting my resources. And when those resources were gone, so were they. When it came time to keep their word, they dipped out. Their words are still important. Mandy Hughes, her words are still important. She's a parent. Now then, there's the fact that many of the parents that I've stayed with have been threatened, harassed, or intimidated. And they should have spoken up about it loud and proud. You really care about your kids, but then you're going to let people threaten, harass, and intimidate you for doing the right thing and to threaten your kids? Don't lay down like a fucking bitch. Don't do that. Your kids are worth more than that. They see you laying down like a bitch. They hear you bowing down like a whipped puppy. No, your kids aren't going to respect that. They might when they have their own kids, but until they have their own kids, they're going to look at you as a bitch. And I'm talking a prison bitch. Somebody who just lay down and take it. Gets passed around the cell block like candy on Halloween. And people wanted to threaten me with, you're going to go to prison and they're going to fuck you up the ass. It wouldn't be the first time. Now, those 3 predators today that were posted up, 3 of them that I knew, 3 of them that I had tried to turn in. I like Michelle Quinn as far as our interactions between her and I, which is a grand total of, when she was just a deputy, a ride from the Garden County Jail to the Dual County line. And that was a lot of years ago. Those of you who want to pretend women can't be predators, Michelle Quinn proved that wrong. So did Corporal Michelle Decini. And of course, Assistant Warden Sarah Nelson. But then we also got to go into the other predators in the prison, like Mr. New Year, who was also an assistant warden. And these guys protect each other. They antagonize and threaten and intimidate inmates together. They hold illegal and immoral courts where they prevent their victims from being allowed to speak. The decision is already made before you go to those courts. Whether you're guilty or not, nobody cares. You're the inmate, they're the guard, you're in the wrong. And all they have to say is, oh, he refused, I'm taking that as a refusal. They take everything as a refusal. The abuse in these places is abhorrent. You know, it's bad enough doing this to people who are convicted of felonies. Still inhumane. It's even worse when you're sending a victim of police brutality to prison for telling the truth. Oh, sorry, for trying to tell the truth. But I'm not allowed. Despite that, despite the fact that I'm not heard because of the mentally ill tag, I'm still willing to go to prison to keep your kids safe. And while you want to pretend that those are empty words, I have been to prison. And before you try to pretend that that means I'm going to hurt people, no, absolutely not. These police learn fight or flight and how to activate it. If they put you in enough pain, then they can pretend that your reaction to a severe amount of pain is you resisting arrest or you trying to assault somebody. They know exactly what they're doing. They need to have audio recording devices on in the prisons at all points in time, especially in a place like Nebraska, where you don't even have to be guilty of a crime to go to prison. It's called the County Safekeep Program. Dallas deserves to not have me used against him, for them to try to pretend that he's got dangerous people around his children. Who am I dangerous to? If my mouth is really that dangerous, it is that dangerous. My testimony and my words could put these officers in prison for the rest of their lives. Not all of them, but for certainly Scott DaCosta. He's an old person. He's got a lot of gray hairs, and he's committed a lot of felonies. He will not get out in his lifetime. And I do want to say that Wendell McPhee is also a parent. He obviously doesn't want to have to go through this any more than the rest of these parents do. He's also the one that told me that Scott DaCosta was running around town telling people he was going to run me out of town. Same thing with Sandy Fromm. Wendell McPhee is also the one that told me that Sandy Fromm was running around town saying she was gonna, well, actually, she was going to that Tim feller's house and telling him that she wanted me killed. She was willing to pay him to kill me. How screwed up is that? There's also the fact that Sandy Fromm verified it, and I got that recorded too. See, my birthday, the day that I drove her around all day, that was after she had tried to hire someone to murder me. And also, Wendell McPhee admits in those recordings that I saved her ass by doing that. I probably saved a lot of people in Chapel, Nebraska from at least the possibility of getting run over by a drunk who couldn't drive. Now, since then, she's quit drinking. I believe if she comes forward and tells the truth, that she should get either leniency or, well, I think that in exchange for testifying about how the Dole County Sheriff's Department didn't try to investigate it, didn't come talk to her, didn't nothing, well, I think that's important, and I think that she should be allowed to go free for the crimes that she committed. She could make amends. That's what repenting is. It's actually taking steps to make those amends. Now it's 12:14 in the morning. I gotta try to get some sleep. I gotta try to find a safe place to go. I gotta try to find a safe place for my evidence where I can actually go through it and look at it. I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna stop fighting for my rights as a human being, even though I don't actually have any. And that's been shown loud and clear. Got a lot of anxiety, and I got in this video because I'm probably gonna go puke.